Hey, it's Andrew Downs. I'm proud to support Three Beards Media, and I would love to work with you. If you need merchandise for your company, organization, band, softball team, whatever, I can help. From name brand apparel to promotional items, large orders or small, online stores, and more, I can help your brand stand out. AKC Marketing is local, based in Johnston, and we are an employee-owned business, so our costs are low and our turnaround times are fast. But most importantly, we give you personal service to make sure you get exactly what you're looking for. Email me at andrew@akcmarketing.com or find me on social media and let's make some cool stuff together. Now sit back and enjoy this Three Beards Media podcast.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Hawks Eye View coming off of a win, 5-3 Iowa beat down of Northwestern. Feeling good about it, Drew?
I think what happened was supposed to happen, right? Like that's. I mean, do I feel good about it? Sure. Like I don't feel bad about it.
Yeah,
I think that's a better way to put it.
Okay.
I felt bad about the first half.
Yeah.
I want to address the elephant in the room. What's behind you today? What do we got going on here? We got like an octopus up there and like some teacups.
No, it's like a little sun. It's like a little bit of a home decorating thing.
Oh,
I'm in a different location tonight. We're podcasting live from a different location. So,
and the AKC marketing studio, of course,
and the AKC marketing studios as always.
Yeah,
but a different location. So,
okay, all right.
So yeah, we got some fun things going on tonight. So
there you go.
There we go. I'm glad we got that out of the way.
Do you have trick or treaters now that they've moved Beggars Night to tonight?
No, I'm the Scrooge who sits at home with my lights off to make sure to not give out candy to kids.
But you're not in your place.
Yeah, I know, but at the place where I'm currently located, trick-or-treaters do not come to this place.
This is like a secret squirrel location. I love it. I'm here for it.
It's Bethany's apartment complex. Okay.
Yeah. I'm tracking that.
Okay. All right. I don't know why I'm being so secretive about it.
You're keeping your cards close to your hand, like Kirk Ferentz and the injury reports.
I am the pseudo Kirk Ferentz of this podcast.
Oh shit.
That's great. Yeah, you're right. The first half was some uninspiring stuff until that Caleb Johnson run, which that's going to go on the highlight tape if he's invited to New York for a Heisman ceremony or invited to New York for the Doak Walker Award potentially. That's going to be on the tape if he wins it. It's going to be on the tape regardless of if he wins it, I guess I should say. That was a special run. The multiple spin moves. That was some Sean Green level stuff from Caleb Johnson.
Since you brought up Heisman, I was really curious as to where he had matched up with the field. And he's not in the top 10.
Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me because it's essentially become a quarterback award.
Yeah.
But this is kind of a down year for the quarterbacks. So if a running back was going to win it again, or a non-quarterback was going to win it, It should probably be Genty or Caleb Johnson.
And listen, the only two quarterbacks that should even be considered in the Heisman race, in my opinion, is Cam Ward and Dylan Gabriel. That's it. That's the list.
Yeah, I agree. Other non-quarterback that can win it, Travis Hunter.
True.
Travis Hunter probably. Well, yeah.
So I mean, let's round out the room and then the Heisman house. Then, since we're doing that, so are we gonna say Cam Ward, Dylan Gabriel, Ashton Genty, Travis Hunter?
I think those are four. Those are four.
Those are the four, right?
And then the fifth spot, because they always
Marvin, the receiver from Ohio State,
Jeremiah
Smith. Yep.
Okay. All right. We'll see.
I'm going to throw just another position player out there, a non-quarterback, because I think those are the two clear-cut quarterbacks. I don't think there should be a third. And if there was, who would it be? Like,
people are going to throw Quinn Ewers or Jalen Milroe in there, or Carson Beck, or
Jalen Milroe lost it 2 weeks ago.
I know, but people are going to try to throw one of those guys in there.
Just to have an SEC representative in there, because
probably
none of those guys that I just said are SEC.
Right, exactly. That's exactly it.
Wouldn't that be wild? Wouldn't that be a Heisman Trophy presentation with no SEC representation? That could happen. Yeah. It could legitimately happen.
I also think if Genty is in the top 5 for the Heisman, then probably got to give Caleb Johnson the Doak.
So I've seen that before, right? So like when the Heisman goes to, I don't know, let's go in the past.
Like Mark Ingram?
Carson Palmer. Brad Banks won the
Davey O'Brien.
The Davey O'Brien. Right.
Yeah.
So tell me how that fucking works. That he's the best college football player in the world, but he's not the best quarterback. Nonsense.
Yeah.
So that's what you're trying to say, that they would be splitting hairs with the award voting.
Yeah, I think that's probably how it works out most of the time.
I feel like that only applies if you win. If Ashton Genty goes in there and he gets third behind Dylan Gabriel and Cam Ward, then I think you're gonna have to give him the Doak.
Yeah,
he's not going empty-handed, for Christ's sake. Oh, hey, man, great season. You were third in the Heisman. You were second runner-up. Sorry, you didn't win the Doak either.
Yeah, I know, but
I don't see that happening. Like Sean Green, right? Sean Green was
Sean Green was top 5 Heisman and won the Doak Walker, but didn't win the Heisman. Yeah. No. Yeah, that's possible. Anyways, I'm biased towards our guy. Our guy should win the Doak. But because he's doing it in the Big Ten. I think that should play the biggest factor. But yeah.
I don't disagree. I think what Boise State's going to hang their hat on is a 3-point loss at Oregon. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
That is actually looking really impressive. We thought maybe that said a lot about Oregon, but really that probably says more about Boise at this point.
Didn't Genty hang 203 tutties on them too?
Yeah, he did.
So, I mean, he has the Big Ten competition and the number 1 team in the country. So,
yeah,
I don't know. He's already had his Heisman moment. I don't think he can improve his stock. I think he's already done what he can do.
For the most part, yeah.
Caleb Johnson, you have 2 200-yard days. Wisconsin, Nebraska?
Maybe. Yeah.
These multiple score games. He's tallying up the touchdowns. I think he's starting to actually catch up touchdown-wise. But, I mean, Ashton Genty's averaging damn near 10 yards a touch. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. That is ridiculous.
I mean, hell, even Caleb's what, 7? 6.5, 7? Somewhere in there. It went down in the first half. I know that because it was like, 6 carries, 7 yards at one point?
Yeah, it wasn't spectacular. Let's see it. Got it right in front of me here. Almost a little under 8 yards per carry.
Oh, shit. He went up.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're at 1,144 yards and 16 touchdowns for the year rushing.
How many more carries does Ashton Jeanty have over Caleb Johnson? That's my question.
That is a great question. It's time to pull up the
because Caleb Johnson's been getting these 100-yard games on like 14 carries and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
15. 3 of your 14 carries are touchdowns. When you're giving the ball to Ashton Jeanty maybe 26, 28 times a game, well then sure, yeah, he's going to be the leading rusher.
Right. Yeah, surprisingly close in carries. Okay. 146 for Caleb Johnson, 159 for Ashton Jeanty, but one less game for Jeanty, one more game for Caleb Johnson. Ashton Jeanty has played in 7 games. So.
Okay.
So
we haven't had our second bye yet.
Right. Our second bye is coming up.
Yep. Okay. So essentially the same.
The same. More, not really.
More with one less game.
More with one less game.
So like an extra Caleb Johnson game, because like he's been averaging 14 to 16 carries a game. So I mean, that's 13. That's 13 carries. That's 100 more yards.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Okay.
Quick math there.
Yeah, I wanted to do a quick comp there just to check in.
Yep, and touchdowns not that far off. Caleb Johnson only 2 behind.
He's closed the gap quick on that.
Yeah,
Jeanty had like 12 in 2 games, so I didn't think he was going to catch him touchdown wise. He might win the Doak. Hell,
he might. So. Saturday, Iowa. Brendan Sullivan coming in. It was time. It was beyond time for whatever the reasons are.
I don't give a shit what the reason is.
Yeah, I don't care what the reason is. It was beyond time. Brendan Sullivan's a great fit for the Tim Lester offense. He's exactly what I believe Lester wants and what he's recruiting now and in the future. He wants a quarterback that can run. That's a true threat to run, and Brendan Sullivan is that. So I liked what I saw, and you saw how it opened things up for Caleb Johnson too, because the defense had to actually
huge difference just having that threat.
Yeah, defense had to actually account for Brendan Sullivan on his own read.
Wild.
When he actually pulls it and runs, the defense has to actually account for that. 9 of 14, 80 yards through the air, but that one play where he threw it to Pascuzzi and then ran downfield to block for Pascuzzi.
Everybody's losing their mind about that.
I am.
Folklore forever, man.
That is going in the folklore forever for me. When I saw that happen in real time, I went, "Oh crap, this guy's serious about it." Like he cares an awful lot. So
it looked great on TV. I'll say that. That was awesome. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and then to finish off that drive with a rushing touchdown of his own, it's a poetic way to finish off that drive.
100%.
Iowa offense just kind of got rolling in the second half there. We've seen that before where the Iowa offense rolls in the second half. But I think this is more of a, the scheme changing because of who the quarterback is. I don't think this is more of just like a running hot and cold kind of thing. Yeah. We're not going to score 40 points every week from here on out. I'm not saying that, but
I don't know, man. Isn't that our third 40 burger of the season?
I think it is, man. Let's look it up. Iowa overs, they're a thing. They are a thing now.
Every single game this year?
It is. It is our third 40 burger. However, we have not eclipsed 40. All of our 40 burgers have been 40 points exactly.
Yes, because it was 40-16, 40-14, and the last 2 wins.
Yeah. Week 1, 40-0. Washington 40-16, Northwestern 40-14. We have Troy 38-21. We have Minnesota 31-14. No 41, no 42, no 45 or anything like that.
Are we to 325 yet?
I don't know. 135, 215, 235. We're at 235 through 8 games.
That's amazing.
90 more points in the last 4 games to 325.
That's amazing.
So, average that out. That's what?
235 divided by 8?
Well, no, I mean 90 over 4. What is that?
45 would be 22 and a half.
Yeah. So we need 22 and a half, 23, essentially 23 points per game.
Too easy.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. So yeah, your thoughts on just the quarterback change, kind of what that means maybe for the future. I have my own thoughts on this, but I'm just wondering kind of how you're feeling about the quarterback change and everything else that's going on.
So the kids these days and their TikTok, right? The thing in the last month or two has been the whole very cutesy, very mindful, very demure, right?
Oh gosh,
isn't that what the kids have been saying in all these little fucking videos that they're doing?
Yeah, I guess.
I don't want to see any of that from this fucking offense. I want to see full bore, 100% installed offense with Brendan Sullivan running it. I want to see passes down the fucking field. I want to see routes further than 5 yards down the field. I want to see play action instead of just maybe run pass option, like full bootleg waggle, maybe some classic Iowa offense and see what he looks like in that scenario as well. I want to see the kitchen sink. I want to see everything against Wisconsin, man, because I think this is the toughest game we have left. I know everybody's saying Nebraska, and that remains to be seen. I mean, they could have beaten Ohio State, right?
Yeah.
So I mean that has its own merit. But yeah, I mean, just the Battle of the Heartland is always a tough in the trenches, low scoring affair. I want the whole kitchen sink. I want to see what the whole installed offense looks like with Brendan Sullivan. That's what I want to see, man.
Yeah. And I think we're a lot closer to that with Brendan Sullivan at the helm. I think this is good because it's also an audition for next year for the starting job to see truly if he is the guy. Although I think regardless of if we feel like he is the guy or the coaching staff feels like he's the guy, they've already pretty much said they're going to go out and seek a transfer quarterback no matter what. So I think you bring in someone to compete no matter what, just because you need depth in the room. Cade McNamara gone. James Rezar moved to wide receiver, which we can talk about that in a second. But yeah, I think you bring someone in that can truly compete regardless. If you have the opportunity, if you have the opportunity to get someone that can compete at the quarterback spot next year, I don't see why not. Not that you're giving up on Sullivan in any way, but I think he would welcome that competition. I think you bring it in because it makes the team better, and you need to have that reliable option, kind of like we have with Sullivan, had with Sullivan this year, right? We felt really good about the switch to Sullivan because of his history.
So I mean, I guess my question, you didn't say Marco Lainez's name.
Yeah.
In any of that. So like,
I'm not giving up on Marco Lainez by any means. Well, I guess I am in a sense. I think he's so far away. I also think there's a little bit of he was a recruit of Brian Ferentz. at the quarterback spot. Not that necessarily means that he's a bad quarterback by any means. But I don't think he gives you anything that's different or better than what Brendan Sullivan can give you.
Sure.
And then we have Jimmy Sullivan coming in next year, who we like probably just as much as Linez, if not more, because he can probably make the throws that Linez can't. So I wouldn't be super shocked to see Linez transfer out at the end of this year.
That's where I was kind of leading you to.
Yeah.
And it gives me a very Deuce Hogan like feel to it.
Yeah.
You know, because I really truly feel he hasn't got a fair shot of real play time, of actually stepping back and throwing the rock and seeing if he can do it. You know what I mean? Like,
that's true. That's true.
He is number 2 on the depth chart this week because Cade McNamara is out with a concussion.
Well, that's real. The concussion's real. Okay. You can actually get in trouble for lying about that kind of thing. So I don't think Kirk and staff are lying about that.
Okay. Well, okay. Fair enough.
With all the protocols the Big Ten has around injuries now, you can actually get in a lot of trouble. So if they are lying about that, Iowa's going to be in a lot of trouble.
Well, they should be more transparent about the rest of their injuries. But again, that's not the first time I've said that. Yeah, I mean, they do need to recruit whether or not Sullivan's the guy for future years at quarterback position. And this is a habitual issue of, well, man, we've had Deuce Hogan come in here. We've had Spencer Petras come in here. We've had all these 3-4-star guys that we were all excited about coming from highly touted programs in California and Texas and Florida, et cetera, man. Like top 50 guys in their state, recruits that can't even sniff the field. So it's a talent evaluation problem. I've said that more than once.
Yeah.
It's a developmental problem at that position specifically. Second.
Okay.
So I guess what I'm saying is that I'd really like to see the long-term effects of Tim Lester and developing a quarterback from campus, showing up on campus as a freshman to, are we going to stop the regression of the quarterback progress that we've seen in years past of all of Kirk Ferentz's quarterbacks, Ricky Stanzi included, CJ Beathard included, Drew Tate included, Stanley included.
Right.
All of the top Ferentz quarterbacks regressed the older they got. I would like to see that trend the other way. And so that's what I'm seeing. That's what I want to see long term, Andrew. I want to see if Tim Lester can do this. 4 or 5 years down the road, he takes a recruit that he gets. I don't know, even in the portal, I guess I would take that for like near term success.
You gotta use the portal. I think having a guy come in and develop him for a few years, that might be.
Is that a thing of the past? Because by the time we develop them, they're gonna transfer.
Yeah, or right. Not a lot of guys have the patience to see it through. You might get to see that with Jimmy Sullivan, though. That's a Lester recruit. The one thing that I like about all the recruits now and in the future is there's an element of the run game with all of them. Lester picked Brendan Sullivan, run game. Jimmy Sullivan can run. Cash Herrera, 2026, can run. Whoever they go after in the transfer portal, I would assume will have at least some threat of the run. They're not going for the classic pocket passers anymore. I think that's the difference.
It's just modernizing the offense to 2024, man. That's finally happening.
Yeah, and I don't see I don't know how quarterbacks at Iowa will develop throwing the football. I'm curious to see that. I'm in the same camp as you with, let's see the passing game, the vertical passing game, downfield. But if we don't have that, at least we'll have quarterbacks that have the element of the run, which will give our offense something to live off of while the passing game comes along.
Sure.
Right? Maybe we just have a very strong rushing game and sometimes an average to above average passing game. I'm really excited about James Rezar switching positions. I know that some people kind of freaked out about it as some like kind of indictment on the staff about quarterback with kind of what you talked about. And I guess you could see it that way because of the history. But so many national guys who followed like his recruitment said that he reminds them of Matt Jones from Arkansas. If you
Okay.
remember that.
I do remember Matt Jones from Arkansas. He ended up getting drafted to the Jaguars, I believe, as a wide receiver.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited actually about a guy who's 6'4", who can run a 4.3 40 moving to wide receiver. I think that's
we've had a guy like that before. He wore number 7.
Yeah, Marvin McNutt. Marvin McNutt wasn't that fast though. Actually, straight line, he wasn't that fast. He wasn't 4.3 fast.
Okay, but he was 6'4".
He was 6'4", and he knew how to move. He was extremely agile. He knew all the routes. He was a great route runner.
So I mean, let's do it. Let's do it. Last time we did it, it worked out really well.
Yeah, I personally love that move. And then you've got Vander Zee, who's 6'5". You've got Terrence Smith coming in as a freshman, who's 6'3".
Vander Zee is out this week. Is that right?
Yeah, he is. He is out.
Just to talk about this week in near term, he's out.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the potential future of the Iowa wide receiver room is 6'5", 6'4", 6'3", with speed. And then Dayton Howard, you got to throw Dayton Howard in the mix there somewhere, and he's 6'4", 6'5". A lot of big-bodied wide receivers. So we next year we could be going from not really any big-bodied guys to a plethora of big-bodied guys with speed. So I like that change.
I'm so nervous about next year. I don't even want to think about it.
Well, we can get to that later in the year. After the football season's done.
Yeah, let's get that into the dog days of summer.
Yeah. I like to throw it in there every now and then.
Sure.
But on to Wisconsin. Heartland Trophy game. Iowa favored for the first time in 10 years, I heard.
Interesting.
For the first time in 10 years, we're favored.
3-point favorite, yep.
Yep. It's a Kinnick night game, 6:30 on a Saturday night. When was the last time we played Wisconsin in a night game in Kinnick? It's got to be.
I'm not 100% sure because every one I remember has been 2:30, at least in the last several years.
Yeah, I don't even know. I'd have to look that up, but it's been a while.
To be fair, that is a lot to do with the Big Ten's television contract, though.
Yeah, it is. It is, but I'm glad that we have another night game in Kinnick.
I feel like people are mixed feelings about that. Give us back our 11 o'clock games. What the fuck's going on here? We need to be cracking Busch lattes in the parking lot at 7 a.m. We got problems.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Kinnick.
Seriously, have we played what? Have we played one 11 o'clock game this year?
I think, the first game was 11 o'clock, so was Washington. 2 11 o'clocks.
Washington was 11, okay.
And Troy and Iowa State were both 2:30 or later.
Yep.
And then, Northwestern was a 2:30. Wisconsin and Nebraska to finish off for 6:30 at night.
Michigan State was 6:30
on the road. Yep.
Yeah, I'm just saying, man. There's been a lot of non-11 o'clock games, and it feels weird.
Yeah, it does because the Big Ten wants to put the big games at noon on Fox.
Which I mean, strange. We can't blame them. Penn State, Ohio State this week, so
right. But I think it's kind of interesting they choose to put the big games at noon rather than at night.
Yeah, I mean, they give way to College Game Day for the most part. I mean, and I know College Game Day has been picking Fox games lately.
Right.
Ohio State, Oregon was that way. So that was interesting. But yeah, I don't know. The whole dynamic in the new television contract stuff is really shaking up kick times this year. I've noticed that quite a bit.
It has. Where am I going with this? I believe we won the last 2 against Wisconsin.
Yep.
Looking for 3 in a row for the first time in a while.
That would be good.
That'd be great. Got
to close the series gap. I think we're behind a little bit. Maybe by
11. We did have a major lead.
So. I think it's 40-29 total, something like that.
Okay, I'm not so sure on that, but
I'd have to look it up. It's something close to that. I'll look it up. I'll look it up during our break. How about that?
All right, you look it up during the break. I think we will go ahead and actually take that break right now so that you can look that up, and then we'll come back, talk Iowa, Wisconsin, and maybe a little bit of basketball too.
All right.
Making great tasting bourbon requires the perfect combination of ingredients, conditions, and time. The longer it rests, the better it tastes. Revelton Distillery's new single barrel bourbon is made from 80% corn, sourced 100% from Iowa farmers. And unlike mass-produced bourbons, each barrel of Revelton's single barrel bourbon is unique, proofed on when it tastes best. As they like to say, it'll be ready when it's ready. And to ensure the highest standards of quality and flavor, owners Rob and Christy Taylor oversee the production and bottling. Every single barrel. Iowa born, Iowa aged, Iowa bottled. Try the new single barrel bourbon from Iowa's own Revelton Distillery. ReveltonDistillery.com. Whether you're buying, selling, or refinancing your home, or if it's simply time to renovate the one you're already living in, you need an experienced mortgage professional to help you analyze your financing options and to make sure the closing goes smoothly. And that's exactly what you get when you call Kyle Lehman at Wintrust Mortgage. Kyle's experience and expertise, coupled with Wintrust's rates and programs, ensures you'll get the mortgage that's right for you. You may even qualify for down payment assistance. Before you reach out to a realtor, call Kyle and get pre-qualified, empowering you to start shopping for the home of your dreams. Call Kyle at 515-473-0546. Kyle Lehman, Wintrust Mortgage. 515-473. In 2023, a crack Green Beret named Dan Douglas retired his military command and promptly escaped to a full-time career in real estate. Today, this man is wanted by home buyers and sellers who want to survive the process without spending a fortune. If you have a home to sell or want to buy one, maybe you can hire Dan Douglas at Green Beret Realty. You can find him at greenberetrealty.com. greenberetrealty.com.
All right, welcome back. What do you got for us, Drew?
I'm wildly disappointed in myself.
Yeah. How close is it?
It's only 3 games different. It's 49, 46, and 2.
That's what I thought. I thought we had just kind of over the last decade or so actually given up our lead because we had a major lead at one point.
Yeah.
During the Hayden days. Wisconsin used to be the gimme game. Back in the 80s, they used to be like a game that you would show up, you would know you're beating Wisconsin.
All right, Chris, I'm fired. I'm taking off, buddy. We'll see you later.
Oh, please. Please. I don't even know what this podcast would do without you. Don't do that.
All right, won't do
that. Yeah, like you mentioned, I think Wisconsin is probably the toughest game on our schedule remaining here, I think. Playing better. They're not with the quarterback that they expected to have for the year. They expected to have Tyler Van Dyke for the year. Braden Locke has had to step in because of injury. Braden Locke had to step in because of injury last year against Iowa. Iowa was, I believe, his first full game as a starter. Or maybe he had to come in relief. Yeah, I think they started the game with Mordecai last year, and then Locke had to come in relief.
That is true, because if I remember correctly, wasn't there like a 6-game streak of us knocking out starting quarterbacks last year?
Yeah, we did have a streak of knocking out starters.
Yeah, I think that was one of them.
That was one of them.
Yeah.
So that game was up in Madison. Iowa barely edged that one out, I believe. I can't remember what the score was last year.
Hold on. Wait one.
All right.
Current winning streak is 2, like you correctly said. And it wasn't really an edge. It was 15-6.
Okay. Not a ton of points.
No.
Not a ton of points. I think we see a few more points in this year's edition of the Battle for the Heartland Trophy. I think there will be a few more points.
I think that's safe.
Wisconsin is the worst rushing defense left on our schedule.
I did hear that.
They are 67th against the run overall. That's in terms of yards per game allowed. So plenty of opportunity for Caleb Johnson yards. Now, I don't know if those yards, I don't know how many rushing touchdowns they've given up as a defense. That's a whole nother thing altogether. But in terms of pure yards, they've given up quite a few there. So not maybe your typical Wisconsin front seven there with the defensive line and the linebackers that we're kind of used to. They do have your typical offensive line, though, I think. And Ches Malusi did leave the team, but Tawi Walker has stepped in and filled in pretty much seamlessly. 10 rushing touchdowns, 600 yards, 5 yards a carry. That's kind of the bulk of their offense. I know that Wisconsin has kind of tried to do this thing that they call the dairy raid. It's silly. It's a silly pun.
What did you just call it?
The dairy raid instead of the air raid. The dairy raid, because Wisconsin is a dairy producing state. They try to call it the dairy raid. That's
the stupid ass shit I've ever heard.
Luke Fickell came up with it, not me. All right, don't shoot the messenger.
No.
So
yeah.
Braden Locke, 7 passing touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and he's done that in 7 games. In each of his last 6 games, he's thrown at least 1 pick. So the odds are pretty good that against even this year's version of the Iowa defense, which has been maybe a little bit up and down, I think the odds are good of a Braden Locke pick this week, especially in Kinnick at night. I think the odds are good.
I can't add anything more to that. I 100% agree to that.
That's
when the turnover battle in this matchup, 9 times out of 10, you're going to win the football game, right? And you know what? That could be said about every football game you play. So it's kind of cliche, right? But truly, the Iowa-Wisconsin matchup has been so close over the last 20 years. Let's say that it is a true indicator of who won the football game. You can look at the plus minus in the turnover margin and know who won the football game.
Right. I'm trying to sort out where Wisconsin might have an edge over Iowa. I haven't watched enough Wisconsin football this year to really know that.
I watched them shit the bed in games that counted.
Yeah, they were hanging around in that game at home last week against Penn State, and kind of Penn State pulled away late. So that was a good performance. Maybe they're just a resilient team.
I'm still not sold on Penn State.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. I'm with you there.
They're not the number 3 team in the country. What are we doing?
No. Yeah, I think it's more just they're undefeated.
So is Iowa State.
Yeah, I know. It's the name brand of Penn State that's bolstering them a little bit.
It just pisses me off because I hate James Franklin. He's like in my top 5 of just most hated coaches.
Yeah, he's up there for me too. He's up. Yeah, he's kind of a strange guy.
That's nice. That's a very nice way to say it. Good job.
Again, I'm the
I could
podcast.
I could go on a verbal tirade about James Franklin for at least 90 seconds.
You can?
Yeah, I'm not doing that right now.
Oh, okay. All right. We won't let you. Again,
no, I will take the moral high ground because you did, Andrew. You make me better. Okay. You make me better.
I don't always take the moral high ground, so this for
It's
once
okay,
in
you
my
do
life,
it.
I'm doing
It's
it.
okay. You do it privately, like Kirk Ferentz.
Yep. Again, I'm the Kirk Ferentz of this podcast. I don't know why we haven't thought of this until now, but that's the
I'm Brian Ferentz. I'm the asshat that thinks I know stuff.
No, you're not the Brian Ferentz. You, sir, are the Phil Parker of this podcast.
Oh, that's very nice of you. That's very nice of you.
Maybe the Tim Lester if Tim Lester is great. But yeah, I'm again trying to sort out where Wisconsin has the edge. Maybe their wide receivers can find some space. I think that might be something that they can exploit. We've seen teams exploit that against Iowa. I don't know if Wisconsin is built necessarily to exploit that with Locke back there. I know that they have Jack Nelson on their offensive line who's going to go pro. He's going to be maybe a first round pick, definitely a second round or third rounder, not any lower than a third rounder as an offensive lineman. So there's a couple of NFL quality offensive linemen. So I think it'll be, I think another key to the game might be the defensive line. You know, I think they're pretty much when Iowa's gotten pressure as a defense, the defense hasn't given up big plays. But when they can't get pressure, the defense does give up big plays. And again, that makes sense, right? It's common sense. It's intuitive, but that's what I want to see.
I was trying to dig up some stuff. Like maybe they involve their tight ends in their passing game that they can attack our seams. But I see their top two tight ends have combined for 15 catches for one touchdown and 115 yards. So I'm not necessarily going to say that's where they're going to expose Iowa. But it seems like where we get exposed in the coverage game is in the seams and behind us, right? And I don't know if they have the explosive speed guys to get behind our secondary. I just don't see it.
Or the quarterback to make the throws to beat that kind of cover 2 window.
Even if they do, right.
So because of that, I'm feeling really good this week, Drew. I'm feeling, but
I already have my prediction in my head. It's right here.
As kind of has been the theme every week that I feel good, we lose. I felt good about Michigan State. I felt good about Iowa State. We lost.
You had no reason to not feel good about Michigan State. You come off a 40-14 drubbing of Washington, who we thought was a good football team, or at least I did.
Yeah, and we had the win against Minnesota too in our back pocket. We felt good about that win, and yeah, again, we feel good, but like this has kind of been the theme of like the roller coaster, up and down, up and down. I'd like to just stay up and win out.
It's at home.
Yeah, it's at home. It's at night. And that's what gives me a little bit more confidence, I guess. And then also, I think just the change in offense with having a quarterback who can run. I just think Iowa's offense just opens up so much more. I don't think they light the world on fire this Saturday, but I think it gives them an element that Wisconsin can prepare for it because they know that Sullivan's going to start. But also, as much as you prepare for that kind of thing, there's just you don't play it perfectly all the time, even if you prepare for it all week. So
did Sullivan play against Wisconsin last year?
Let's check this out.
Because Northwestern has a pretty good history of knocking off Wisconsin teams. I don't remember last year's result.
Is true.
I remember Wisconsin not being good last year.
Hey, Drew, this is why you're the Phil Parker of the podcast. Northwestern, Wisconsin last year. Northwestern won 24-10.
Woo!
But it was not Brendan Sullivan at quarterback.
Oh, son of a bitch!
It was Ben Bryant
Oh man,
playing
I
quarterback.
wanted a sample size of Brendan Sullivan versus Wisconsin. I've been digging this up all year.
There's not a sample size.
Damn it!
Unfortunately.
Okay, so I'm not the Phil Parker. If he would have played against Wisconsin and put up a 24-10 win, that would have been a Phil Parker.
Yeah.
I'm a LeVar Woods.
Anyways, that Wisconsin team I felt like was better than this year's version of Wisconsin.
I'm not 100% sure I would buy into that, and simply because
really?
simply because they didn't have an identity last year.
They should have had an identity. Their identity should have been Braylon Allen, but yeah, you're right, but they didn't.
Yeah, what it should have been, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So they didn't, and they didn't, right? So they're just tried to change the entire culture. So now this is year 2, right, of trying to install this dairy bullshit.
Dairy raid.
Yeah. Stupid.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're only going to get better at that concept, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would think. But
yeah,
I'm not concerned. And in fact, you've already said what my prediction is in last year's Northwestern Wisconsin game. My prediction's 24-10 Iowa.
Okay. I am going 28-10. So
I feel like you had another 24-10 in you, but you had to change it up on the fly.
No, I didn't. I 28-10. I'm also not concerned. Maybe I should be. That's why I was trying to look for things, trying to hunt for things, trying to say what gives me concern about Wisconsin this week, and I just can't.
I would really like to see a Brendan Sullivan passing touchdown.
I think there's a great chance of that. Lachey is injured, so that gives me some pause too, but I think there's still enough and Ostrenga's out. So we're down to Ortworth and Pascuzzi at the tight end spot, but thankfully we are pretty deep at that tight end spot and feel good about those guys.
Yeah.
So, but I think this is a big Caleb Johnson game. We kind of saw Sean Green in 08 go off against Wisconsin.
I just watched those highlights on Big Ten Network on Facebook like 2 days ago.
I think it might feel like a replay on Saturday night from Caleb Johnson wearing number 2 instead of 23 and running through Wisconsin defenders.
You know, the only thing that I feel like now that I watched that highlight reel, because I think you had said previously that you think that Caleb Johnson has surpassed Sean Green as far as
no, I don't feel like he's surpassed him, but he's on pace to beat his touchdowns. He's right in that same breath.
I would say Sean Green's horizontal moves, his juking ability to make people miss was elite.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's more Caleb Johnson's hole hitting abilities and just pure speed.
Yeah,
that, he's a one. I would consider him more of a one cut back. But when he makes that one cut, it's over. You're already to the next level, right?
Yeah,
Sean Green was changing levels multiple times per carry.
That's true. And then Caleb Johnson has that run against Northwestern last week was kind of made me do the Sean Green thing because he spinned off a defender, he stiff armed a couple guys,
That's true.
It's
That's
like
true.
that.
I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm just saying what their identities are or were.
Well, a lot of other people have said this, and I kind of agree with this too, is the comp for him is Le'Veon Bell. I kind of like that comp as well for Caleb Johnson.
As long as he has a better brain, that's fine. Because that guy pissed his career away.
Yeah, I think Caleb's got a pretty solid head on his shoulders, so I'm not too worried about that.
No.
I just meant in terms of on the field.
Oh,
rushing,
sure. Yeah. No, I know what you meant, but
Lead Belt kind of comes to mind.
If I could take a swipe at a Michigan State guy, I'm going to.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So I feel good this weekend. I think you all should too. Hopefully Iowa can keep it up, and we're celebrating a win next Thursday night at the Front Row. But before we
bowl eligibility on the line.
What?
Bowl eligibility on the line.
Hey, that'd be great to get bowl eligible. Again, like we talked about it before, I think winning out would be awesome. You know, even
9-3, you're still playing on New Year's Day.
Yeah, even if the major goals of making the playoffs aren't there anymore, going 9-3 and then playing an SEC team like maybe Ole Miss or Alabama misses the playoffs and we get to match up with them, I think Iowa's going to have a lot of fun with that. And
I want to see Ole Miss so bad.
I can want to see Alabama so bad.
No, you do not. No, you do not.
I do actually.
We want Bama. Make the sign.
This isn't the same Bama from the same Saban era, so I'm okay with it. This is a softer, weaker Alabama, so we're all right. You get a chance to watch any of the women's exhibition, or at least read about it?
I saw that they dubbed what was it, Missouri Southern?
Missouri Northwestern, yeah.
Yeah. I saw they hung 100. I know nothing about it other than the fact of my news feed on Facebook saying that this team looks deep. Their depth looks great. I didn't watch a minute. I don't even know if I could have, to be honest. Was it on TV? Or maybe it was just locally.
Big Ten Plus. Big Ten Plus. If you want to buy the Iowa Big Ten Plus subscription.
I'm broke, so I don't do that. I got a wedding to pay for, Andrew. That happens in 9 days, bro.
Yeah.
9 days.
I guess Lucy Olson was as good as advertised. Tegan Maligny gave off shades of McKenna Warnock, that would be a great addition for this year's team, having a player like that. And then I think the team didn't really necessarily shoot the ball very well, but like you said, a lot of people contributed. The scoring was very balanced. Ava Hayden showed off a lot of things, showed off some nice post moves with both hands, which I think people take it a little bit for granted that college players can finish well with both hands at the D1 level. Some people can't. Some people make it to the pros and still can't finish well with both hands.
I mean, if I remember right, like even Megan Gustafson wasn't really a great two-handed player, was she? And she was player of the fucking year.
I felt like she was. I felt like Sonano got better at that too as her career went on. I felt like she could use either hand. But to start from that place as a freshman, I guess, in college is really encouraging and showing off a little bit of mid-range too as well. I think that just does so much for you offensively. I think, again, like we talked about, different team. Can't take too much away from an exhibition like this, other than good to see them kind of play well and just get back out there. And then real games start next for them next Wednesday for the women and next Monday for the men. So November 4th is the big day for the men. And then Thursday, while we're at the Front Row, there will be an Iowa men's game as well.
They play Southern, 8 p.m.
Let's go, Southern. All right. Well, that's cool. Anyways, exciting kind of a season coming up for both, I think, in basketball. So it's going to be a good time here to finish off 2024 for Iowa fans.
For sure. Couldn't agree more.
Yes,
there is actually.
Let's go.
The wrestling rankings came out this week.
Oh.
You want to take a guess who number 1 is?
Penn State.
Yeah. You want to take a guess who number 2 is?
Iowa.
Yep, and that is your wrestling coverage, folks. We'll move on. Yes, Iowa is number 2, ranked in the country.
Oh, okay.
Penn State is unanimous number 1, and obviously for good reason. I'll get those little nuggets in here towards the end of the Hawks Eye View podcast in future episodes with some results, some individual rankings, lineups, stuff like that. I'll dig more into the wrestling lineup in the coming weeks.
That'd be great. You're our resident wrestling expert because I'm not.
Expert is a loose term. This is a semi-professional podcast. That's how I defined our podcast on X/Twitter. Is we are a semi-professional podcast. So,
Okay. Well, at least we're part of the way there. We're halfway there.
Nearly award-winning podcast.
Yeah, let's go. Next year we're winning awards.
I think so.
Yeah, I don't know what we're doing in 2025, but we're winning awards.
We're doing big things.
Yeah, we're doing great things. When does the season start for wrestling? Actually,
it's a great question. I think the first duel is in mid-November.
I was going to say it's coming up.
Now that you ask, I will dig.
Do we get Penn State at home?
Yes, we do.
Oh, baby! Not that we have closed the gap or have any chance, maybe, but it'll still be cool to have Penn State at home.
Let's see. Iowa men's wrestling at Oregon State this Saturday, as a matter of fact.
Hey, let's go. Maybe we can have some wrestling tidbits in here for you next Thursday.
At Oregon State, Stanford. Let me confirm. Iowa State, who's ranked number 6 in the country, is in Iowa City this year as well.
Okay, great.
We wrestle Army.
Sweet.
1 second. I lied. See, I'm not that great. It's at Penn State. It's at Penn
State College. Ah, darn.
Yeah.
Darn. Well, that is too bad, but we'll have more wrestling coverage. Anything else before we call in the night, Drew?
Let's see. I don't think so.
All right.
I think we had been waiting for the announcement from the new upstart Winter League built by Brianna Stewart and Nafisa Collier, called Unrivaled, about whether or not Caitlin Clark was going to be the 30th named player. She wasn't. Kate Martin is involved in this new Unrivaled League.
Yeah, I saw
that. So throw out that mention there. I guess the invite is still there for Caitlin Clark, despite that they have 30. So I don't know what that means. I guess the money is supposedly lucrative. I think it's I think it's kind of an extension from the Big Three, Ice Cube's Big Three, from my understanding.
Huh. Interesting.
I also learned today that the NBA owns 60% of the WNBA.
Yep.
I know that they had been financially bailing them out, but I didn't realize to what extent. And that's pretty significant.
It is very significant.
So I don't know. Maybe they'll buy some of themselves back once they get self-sufficient. The pending lockout, since the women's players union opted out of their collective bargaining agreement after this next season. I don't know. You want to spend 30 seconds on your thoughts on that? Because
the Women's Association trying to leverage whatever power they have, which is really the power of one person. Good luck.
Without admitting it's about that one person.
Yeah,
and at the same time disrespecting that person her whole life. Yeah.
We love that person when they make us money.
It's convenient.
Yeah, when it's convenient, we love Caitlin Clark. When it's inconvenient, now we don't love Caitlin Clark. She's taking the attention away from us.
So the players' union can kind of kiss my ass, if I'm being honest. But I could see where they're coming from. I mean,
I'd be a lot more open to this if all of them had gotten on board and embraced Caitlin Clark from the jump. then this would make a lot more sense. And then I'd be fully on their side. I'd be like, well, yeah, they should be asking for more money. But they didn't.
Here's the way that I have to look at it, Andrew, is I'm almost 39 years old, right? So if Caitlin Clark can handle the fact and not make it petty, then I'm gonna have to be a big enough adult to not be petty about it myself. Because one, I'm not involved. I have no skin in the game. I can have an opinion. Everybody can have an opinion. And my opinion, I share with you. But yeah, I mean, here's the thing: is they would have had to ride that contract out an additional 2 more years after next year. So, I mean, you're gonna go 5 years of success of Caitlin Clark before you see any fruition. Well, then you're getting all these players like Diana Taurasi, Brianna Stewart, Jewel Lloyd, like all these older players that won't see this fruition, this boom come to fruition and actually benefit financially from instant success brought upon who they disrespected all year. It's ironic, and maybe that's why Caitlin Clark's kind of holding out on this whole unrivaled decision, because there is a lot of money behind this.
Yeah,
but the people involved, I mean, there's a lot of big players in there. Obviously, Napheesa Collier, Brianna Stewart, Kate Martin, the point god from Las Vegas, Chelsea Gray. Chelsea Gray?
Yep.
Jackie Young.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of NBA All-Stars, a lot of Olympians that are joining this. I mean, it's small squad, 30 players, man.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll see. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Caitlin Clark is not petty about these things publicly, but if you don't think she has a little bit of that Michael Jordan taking everything personally in her, then I think you've read her wrong for
as long as I see it on the court, that's all I give a shit about.
You will see it on the court.
The silent assassin, just handle business on the court.
She does, and then she talks after she's done handling business.
Yep,
for the most part,
for sure.
So, anyways, thank you all for listening. Next week, live show, The Front Row in Clive, Swanson Boulevard. It's going to be a great time. We're going to have a special guest. It's going to be. You'll have to come on out, see who that is. You'll have to come on out and say hi to Drew and I, and there'll be a lot of people there. It'll be a great night. It's steak night at the Front Row. Good deal on the steak night. Come on out and hang out with us and enjoy a little bit of Hawk Talk. And
no, you can't say Hawk Talk, man. That's probably
whoop.
that's
just got our podcast
copyrighted by Gary Dolphin in Learfield.
Hawks I View Talk.
There it is.
There we go. Sorry, just got our podcast shut down at the end of 2024.
Unbelievable.
All right. Well, great night, Iowa fans. Any last thoughts before we depart for the night?
Nah, man. I think we see a win on Saturday, and I'll see you up front row, man. I'm looking forward to that broadcast.
Me too. Have a great night, and as always, go Hawks.
Go Hawks.